Hey, it's John. Welcome back to my channel, and today I got a video for you about Phase 2 of the Bay Area Rapid Transit Extension to Silicon Valley. Now, Phase 1 of this project included 2 new stations and 10 miles of track, and it opened in June of 2020. In this video, I'm going to go over Phase 2 of the project, where it's going to be built, when it's going to be built, and how it's going to affect other transit systems in the area. The BART Silicon Valley project as a whole is being managed and built by the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority rather than by BART itself. The reason for this is that Santa Clara County declined to join BART in the late 1950s as their suburban voters realized it would be several decades before service could reach Santa Clara County. To pay for the project, a 30-year half-cent sales tax was passed in 2000, which was supplemented with a second 30-year half-cent sales tax in 2016. Phase 1 of the project cost $2.3 billion, with the federal government contributing $900 million and the state contributing $363 million of gas tax revenue. Phase 2 of the project is expected to cost $6.9 billion, and the VTA is hoping to get $1.7 billion from the Federal Transit Administration. The project will begin at the end of Phase 1 at the Berryessa station in northeast San Jose. The mostly underground Phase 2 will be built as a single-bore 43-foot or 13-meter interior diameter tunnel. It will dive underground to pass under US Highway 101 in advance of the first station at 28th and Little Portugal. The station will be located in an industrial area that will certainly be the focus of transit-oriented redevelopment. The tunnel will turn west to run straight underneath Santa Clara Street towards downtown San Jose. The second station will be 1.7 miles or 2.7 kilometers west and will be located between 1st and 2nd Streets. It will provide a connection to the VTA Light Rail's blue and green lines and will serve San Jose's ongoing attempts to increase density downtown. 0.7 of a mile or 1.1 kilometers west of the downtown San Jose station, a third station will be built in what is currently the parking lot of the San Jose Diridon Caltrain, Amtrak, and ACE station. This station will provide another connection to the VTA light rail system and is being partially funded by Google as part of their Downtown West transit-oriented development. This station will also provide a direct connection to California High-Speed Rail when it is built, providing an invaluable transit connection. West of Diridon Station, the single tunnel turns northwest to head 2.4 miles or 3.8 kilometers to the final station on the extension at Santa Clara. The Santa Clara BART station will be located next to the existing Caltrain station and adjacent to a maintenance facility built on a former Union Pacific rail yard. Now, the VTA is still finalizing the design of the project, but they have committed to the idea of a single-bore tunnel. This map shows a tentative approach to the track layout. Between Berryessa and a ventilation shaft at 13th and Santa Clara Streets, the tracks in the tunnel will run side by side in a more traditional layout. West of the ventilation shaft, however, the tracks will transition to a stacked configuration through downtown San Jose. The layout for the 2 downtown stations will be somewhat complicated by this stacked approach, but here's a rendering of what the layout may look like. At a second tunnel ventilation shaft on Stockton Street near the Caltrain depot, the tracks will return to side-by-side running in advance of the tunnel portal north of Interstate 880. The VTA is hoping that a single-bore tunnel will reduce the overall project costs, but more importantly, they're hoping that construction disturbances in downtown San Jose will be greatly reduced over a twin-bore design. Of course, there is another subway currently under construction in California right now that is using the twin-bore method. The Purple Line in Los Angeles is being built using tunnel boring machines, and the stations are being excavated using cut and cover. Both streets, Santa Clara Street in San Jose and Wilshire Boulevard in LA, are approximately 70 feet or 21 meters wide, enough for 5 lanes of traffic, and regardless of the tunnel method used, some buildings will have to be demolished to construct a station entrance building. I only hope that the VTA is correct in their calculations that a single-bore tunnel will reduce the project costs and risks and not add to them. The VTA has already secured 75% of the project's $6.9 billion price tag through local sales tax and state funding. The VTA has been working with the Federal Transit Administration to secure the final portion of funding for the project. This project was the first project application submitted for the Expedited Project Delivery Program, and the VTA is hoping to secure federal funding in 2021. In the meantime, 2 federal grants totaling $225 million are being used to advance design of the project. If all goes according to plan, construction contracts may be signed by late 2021 or early 2022. The VTA is hoping to begin heavy construction in 2022, with a timeline extending until 2028. 2 years is being allowed for system testing, which seems wise given the length of time that it took for Phase 1 to be tested and integrated into the existing BART network. It can be assumed that the majority underground section will take longer to test than the largely above ground Phase 1. This means that the opening of Phase 2 of the BART Silicon Valley extension is scheduled for 2030. This seems like an entirely achievable schedule, and I just hope the VTA is able to stick to it. The single-bore tunnel option shouldn't inherently cause delays to the project, but anyone who follows the tunnel construction industry knows that there was another recently completed single-bore tunnel project built in the western United States. The Alaskan Way Viaduct Replacement Tunnel project was constructed with a single TBM, and in fact it was the largest diameter TBM built at the time. At 57.5 feet or 17.5 meters, Bertha was a high-profile TBM, which became much more high-profile when the main bearing of the cutter head became damaged and had to be replaced with the construction of a huge vertical access shaft. Now again, there is nothing inherent to a large diameter TBM project that implies that this BART extension will suffer a similar fate. There have been dozens of large diameter tunnels similar to this built around the world, and the diameter of the VTA tunnel would be considerably smaller than that of Bertha. In addition, engineers at the VTA are, I'm sure, painfully aware of the failures of the Alaskan Way Tunnel project and are undoubtedly working to mitigate every issue related to it. I only mention this project to provide context, and because I'm sure outside observers of the project that might be critical of transit construction will point to the Alaskan Way Tunnel as justification against BART Silicon Valley Phase 2. The fact is that construction problems, delays, and cost overruns are only ever avoided through effective project management and oversight. Now to wrap up this video, I'm going to talk about the very large white and blue BART-shaped elephant in the room. Extending BART to Santa Clara has invited a lot of speculation from supporters and critics alike about the possibility of extending BART around the bay, the same way that such a scheme was talked about 2 decades ago with the Millbrae extension. Some people have questioned whether Bay Area tax money could be better spent converting the Caltrain corridor to BART service. There are several problems with this plan, most notably that the Union Pacific still provides freight service along the Caltrain corridor, and the systems are completely incompatible. If a full termination of UP freight service were sought, the businesses and jobs that rely on the UP would be lost as well. The second main problem with this is the incompatibility with California high-speed rail, and I know most people would either have high-speed rail built on an entirely new line or completely abandoned. I understand both of these arguments, but it doesn't change the fact that California high-speed rail is not dead, and it will run over the Caltrain corridor sometime in the next decade. Any argument that contradicts this is a fool's errand and misses how many hundreds of millions of dollars in planning and construction have already been spent by the state preparing for high-speed rail. Now it might sound like I'm opposed to the idea of BART around the bay, but I assure you that couldn't be further from the truth. Only 30 miles or 48 kilometers separate Millbrae and the future Santa Clara BART station. Of course, 30 miles is a very long distance, particularly in an area of such incredibly wealthy real estate, but when compared to the 21-mile or 34-kilometer Silicon Valley extension, it shows that such a future is not out of the realm of possibility. If the gap were going to be closed on the west side of the bay, San Mateo County would have to either rejoin BART, which they left in the late 1950s, or they would have to take up a similar taxing and construction role like the Santa Clara VTA has done. Of course, this is all speculation, but a route would then have to be selected, and for that, we need look no further than the other enormous elephant in the room that's flat and gray. I'm normally opposed to transit lines being located in the medians of interstate due to their inaccessibility and poor passenger experience, but in this case, I believe that it makes perfect sense. US 101 along the peninsula passes directly alongside thousands of homes and businesses. Instead of replacing Caltrain service, a somewhat closely parallel BART line could enhance both services. Underperforming Caltrain stations could be closed if a nearby station would be better served along the BART line. Offset stations would increase the distance between stations on both lines, allowing for higher average operating speeds. Now again, all of this is just speculative dreaming on my part and not based on any kind of fact. That said, it's a fascinating scenario that could transform the BART network as a whole. Residents of the South and East Bay would have the flexibility of choosing which way to access San Francisco, and the BART system would have the resiliency of being able to shuttle equipment without relying on the congested Transbay tube. Anyways, I wanted to address the issue of BART around the bay because regardless of your personal feelings on the topic, it's a consistently popular issue of debate. So thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn more about this project, subscribe for more updates because I'm definitely going to be talking about it in the future. And if you really like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to check out my other socials and videos, check out the video description below. And thank you so much to all my wonderful Patreons. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all soon.